Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I'm one of the co-founders here at the Yoga Cooperative Montana. And for this yoga snack, I will be breaking down tree. And tree is a balancing pose as well as a hip opener. And so I'll be providing some modifications and variations, as well as some tips and tricks that you can practice or engage in as you develop this pose. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so let's break down tree. First and foremost, make sure to get a couple props together if you're following along at home. So I have a block, or if you don't have a block at home, something block-like. Let's say a couple books, maybe some Tupperware, a Kleenex box, anything that has rigidity and is cube-shaped. So sometimes even firm pillows make a decent substitute for blocks. And place that block on the outside of the foot that you are going to ground down through. So I'm going to start grounding down through my right foot for this exercise. And so I'm going to place my block on the outer edge of my right foot. I'm also going to position myself close to a wall. And this is great for those of us that would like a little bit of assistance with the balancing piece. And so to get started, couple tips to get us started. We want to come to a standing position where we feel as if our weight is evenly distributed. And so you might hear yoga teachers say a couple different things like hip distance width apart, or if you take your fists together and then you face downwards, your fists can represent the space between your feet. So you can maybe widen them or shorten them. But really what you're going for is just a sense of balance. So if those cues are not helpful for you, or those cues and tips that we as yoga teachers might present to you don't give you a sense of balance, just be thoughtful and come to a standing position where it feels as if your weight is evenly distributed throughout your feet. And so I'm going to be grounding down initially through my right foot. And when I say grounding down, what I mean is I'm going to be transitioning my weight onto my right foot, which means that I could lift my foot up off the ground. And already we can engage in a couple tips and tricks. So this is a core exercise. So step one, as we go into this pose, is to draw your navel and your spine together, essentially drawing all your core muscles towards your spine. And this will help to give you stability. If stability is something you're working on in your practice, this is where a wall comes in, because as you begin to transition weight, you can use the wall for assistance. And what's really nice is you can play around by removing your fingers off the wall and putting them back. So that's a great place to start as well, with a wall. Now, as we draw our core together and we begin to really start to put our weight into our right foot, our left foot becomes light. Flex that toe so that your toes are pointing away from you and that your ankle's at roughly a 90-degree angle. And you can draw that knee towards your chest. So now we can incorporate two more tips. Imagine that there's an invisible ring that goes around your leg, close to where your leg connects with your pelvis. So I always like to think about it as right underneath my glute muscles. And imagine that there's a ring there, and I want to draw that ring and tighten it so that the muscles around that area cinch up next to my bone. And that's going to help give me a little bit more stability. And then the final tip that I would provide you is to find a spot, maybe on the floor, 3 to 5 feet in front of you, that is not moving, and to focus there. So 3 tips to draw your core, to cinch your leg muscles around your standing leg, and to find a still point 3 to 5 feet in front of you. So that's how we might want to start with this pose. Finding balance, finding stillness. Once we feel like we've found that, or something close to that we're okay with, maybe again we're using the wall, maybe not, we then get to have a choice of where we would like to place our foot. So we've explored the core component of tree. Now we're going to play around with the hip opening component. So that left knee is going to open up to the side. We want it shooting off to that direction. We don't necessarily want it being drugged towards the middle. If you choose a modification for tree and you notice that your knee is being drugged towards the middle, try dropping it down to the next bus stop so that that hip can be open, because this is what we're going for. We're going for an open hip. So you have, again, a couple options. You can use your toes for balance, so that bottom of your foot connects with your ankle and the ground. This is bus stop 1. Bus stop 2 is to raise that foot so that the bottom foot presses up against the shin. This is bus stop number 2. So remember when I said put that block on the outside? That was a mean piece of advice because it actually needs to go on the inside. And so another modification can be to use that block. So if you don't want to quite put all of your weight and press into your leg, you can use your block here to rest your toes. And this can be really great because what's nice about a block is that was on its lowest option, but it has a medium height, and it also has a tall height. So you get to choose with a block how high that support goes. The third bus stop is to take that foot and put it pressing up against the thigh. Now this is often where a lot of folks begin to draw their knee towards the center. That's okay, it gives you an idea of where you're working, but if you remember that the goal is to open the hips, then you may want to drop it down. Also, this is a nice place to stop if you have slippery pants on. So, the last thing that I'll say before adding the arms is there's only one place we really don't want to push, and that's on our knees. So be very conscious of that. As we press our feet onto our legs, we want to protect our knee joint. So bus stop 1, toes on the ground. Bus stop 2, toes off the ground, but the base of our foot is pushing into our shin. At this stage, we can incorporate a block if we want to. And then bus stop 3 is bringing that foot to be flat and pressing into the inner thigh. Now, choosing our modification, choosing our bus stop that's right for us and our bodies, we can start to let our branches grow. So maybe sending those hands up and out. And there we go. That is tree. So lots of different options to play around with, lots of different ways to explore this pose. And just a reminder that you can always ask your yoga teacher when you come into the studio, hey, what are we doing today? So that you can make the choice of what props to grab and how to incorporate those modifications and props into your practice, even if a yoga teacher doesn't give you those options verbally in a class. So thank you so much for joining me with this yoga snack as we break down tree. I hope very much to see you in the studio soon. Thank you very much.